Tonight's Noise Against the Machine is going to be dedicated to the traditional musicians and artists from Ireland from the past and present. I just really feel heartwarmed about this at the moment, because it kind of stems from here, and this is where we get inspired, and our beats and our rhythms and the soul and the culture of it all. And that's why I advocate so much to hear artists now that sound like they are now. Historians are saying we lose our accents, but I just want to show the people that there is amazing music out there, and it's getting dulled down, and we don't need it to be. I just want people to trust us. So this is dedicated to the traditional artists. After the Late Late Show TRAD special, there was, uproar, and they were afraid to say anything, as we all are, and I don't mean any harm. I just want to show you to trust us and have faith in us of all the nations. This one we got, and it's huge in our culture. The king used to tell the story to the musician or the poet, and then they would relay what was going on to the public. So I am going to start this off with a letter that was in the newspaper from a man from Cork called Niall Gufferty, and it says, Madame Late Late Show TRAD special was presented as a celebration in Irish traditional music. Instead, it revealed a persistent colonial mentality on how tradition is framed. The musicians involved were undoubtedly professional, highly skilled, and deserving of a place in the country's biggest television stage. The issue was the narrative imposed around them. Irish traditional music was subtly portrayed as something that cannot stand on its own. That was especially evident in the interview with Lisa Kenny. As always, she was professional and articulate. However, the central focus of the interview was not her work within the tradition, but her recent collaboration with Ed Sheeran. The underlying message was clear. Traditional music gains legitimacy when associated with global pop success. When Donal Lunny was presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award, the video tributes mostly featured international artists. Although undoubtedly respected, their prominence again reinforced the idea that recognition is most meaningful when it comes from globally famous non-traditional voices. The inclusion of the English actor Tomlinson singing The Leaving of Liverpool further highlighted this need for external validation, as it did Peggy Seeger's appearance, this time from the US. The need for stage directions to prompt clapping was patronising. So this is heartbreaking. Such treatment would be unthinkable in an operatic or classical setting. A similar dynamic played out in musical selections. Some of the finest musicians working in the tradition, such as Jory O'Connor, Tara Breen and Louise Mulcahy, were given material of such simplicity that it could have been performed by any capable young player at a flag yole. These are masters of their instruments, yet the programming offered them no opportunity to demonstrate the richness of their artistry. Visually, the programming was equally problematic. The introductory montage featured stock footage of a man dancing in exaggerated, almost caricatured manner with little evidence of training or skill. Rather than showcasing the discipline and complexity of the Irish dance, the imagery bordered on mockery. In requiring the music to be simplified, contextualised by celebrity or validated by external voices, the show's producers devalued the tradition they claim to celebrate. What other art is asked to dilute itself for legitimacy? I would rather urge those responsible for cultural programming to reflect these patterns and to consider how trad music might be represented with the same confidence and seriousness and respect afforded to other professional disciplines. Niall Gufferty, Cork. I couldn't have said that better myself, and I appreciate Niall for writing this too, so thank you, Niall. So I want to give a big audio hug to TG Cahar. I have big respect for them. Gountry are showing some beautiful stuff and the real heart and soul of it. And then the ITMA, the Irish Traditional Music Archive. They're wonderful. So I am just going to give you a little snippet from them speaking about Tommy Potts, and I'm going to hope you enjoy this journey and hope you have some empathy, and this creates some understanding of why we vouch so hard for the Irish voices to be heard. Why the colonialism is still here is beyond me, and why we would want such American influence. No, I think we'll leave that one alone. I think we should leave that one alone.
I've nothing else, because I have my family, but personally I've nothing else, only the music. Potts is one of our most significant folk artists, a unique musician who sprung from a rich well of the tradition to walk a singular path. The beauty of his playing seared its way into the hearts of those who loved him. But for many, Tommy Potts remains an obscure figure. The underlying darkness, the expressive poignancy of his music was shaped by the extraordinary trauma he experienced as a young man with Dublin Fire Brigade, surviving the 1936 Pearse Street tragedy where 3 of his comrades perished, and also the subsequent tribunal whitewash where he was exposed and asked the question, how come you survived? Immersed in the old piping tradition fostered by his father John Potts in their musical home in the Liberties, Tommy emulated the playing of the great fiddle masters like Michael Coleman. But Potts possessed a curious, restless artistic mind, one that saw him absorb influences from the most unlikely sources, great classical compositions, operatic arias, and even jazz constructions of the 20th century. Honed and developed in the parlour of his family home in the Dublin suburb of Walkinstown, Tommy's unprecedented music was unleashed to the world back in 1972 with the launch of the iconic Leafy Banks album by TRAD Records, a record produced by the late Paddy Maloney, and music strikingly described by Tommy as a poor reflection of the unbroken music of heaven. The Irish Traditional Music Archive's new publication, The Sorrowful and the Great, charts the life and artistic process of this exceptional musician, growing up in the turbulent years of the new Irish state, family, tragedy, his fervent spirituality, the unique bond he shared with the great traditional musicians of County Clare, and his friendship with the late Micheál O'Sullivan, which shone a light on his often enigmatic musical development. This is the story of Tommy Potts. Accompanying this biography is a sister publication, The Unbroken Music of Heaven, a selection of Tommy's most exemplary arranged melodies and compositions housed in it in his collections, painstakingly transcribed and annotated beautifully by the great violinist and fiddle player Ethan Green, a devotee of Potts' distinctive music. The Sorrowful and the Great is told by the people who knew Tommy best, his daughter Helen and his son, the late Tom Potts. The many musicians in his life who loved him, who eulogised him, Tony McMahon, Micheál O'Sullivan, and the contemporary proponents of his music, Paddy Glacken, Mairead Ní Bhraonaigh, Noel Hill, Peter Brown and Martin Hayes. Compared in the work to great visual artists like Francis Bacon, Van Gogh and even Picasso, it unveils a portrait of an uncompromising, frighteningly expressive artist, unequalled in the minds of his champions, whose legacy continues to reverberate in the hands of our leading practitioners today.
Okay, now that is going to lead me into playing Julia Clifford, 1914 to 1997, it's her lifespan, and Paddy Cronin, 1925 to 2014, The Pulse of the South. So they were masters of the Sliabh Lucra style, the Cork-Kerry border. Clifford was a master of the slides and polkas, while Cronin was famous for his archaic bowing and wild sweet tone. So I'm actually going to play a little recording of Tom McMahon introducing a show with these two, and they're having a chat about Boston and before they start playing, and you're going to get to hear, you know, the people in the audience and the people being around you. And
well, as you can see, we've been joined by Julia Clifford right now, and I'm delighted she's here. She's a great fiddler from Gníomh Gaoile, and we're delighted that she's here with us this evening. So I'd like you please to put your hands together and give her a big welcome. Welcome, Julia.
Hello, Paddy. I'm delighted to meet you.
Glad
and
to meet you too,
good.
Julia.
I did meet you in Boston 2 years ago when I went over on a bit of a holiday, and my niece had a bit of a party, and she invited us, and Seamus Connolly came, and he had a radio program in Boston, and he recorded the two of us. So it was very short, man. We weren't long there, but it was very good meeting you there, you know.
You haven't met
We haven't met.
for a good while, have you?
Well, with the
Well,
exception
before that, it was years.
Yeah, it was years,
It
yeah.
was years.
No, it wasn't either. I met you in October in Dan
Did you
Connell's.
meet me in Dan
Dan Connell's. I met you one night
Yeah.
at Dan Connell's. It was maybe 2 years before our meeting in Boston. You were back on a holiday,
Yeah.
and I met you there about 2 years before that.
I remember one time I came home on a holiday from England. I was a bit of a swank. Anyway, Dennis and Paddy Crone were playing for Cayley in Rathmore, and they wanted me to come with them. So I said, how could I walk to Rathmore? Just 3 miles. So I said, I'm not going to walk to Rathmore. You'll have to take the donkey. And Dennis was drawing manure all day with the donkey cart, and it was all dirt. So he got a lot of hay, and he filled the donkey cart with hay, and myself and Paddy and Dennis had into the cart and away to Rathmore. We tied the donkey someplace down the road and went away and played until 3 o'clock in the morning. Came out at 3 o'clock in the morning for the donkey, and the donkey was sound asleep. And he had all the hay eaten. So Paddy went into a meadow and stole some hay and put into the cart, and we all sat in again. And there was no one telling the donkey, will you hurry up? We were talking about reels and jigs. And the next thing, the donkey lay down. He lay down on the road. Well, Dennis was in an awful state. He was in an awful state over the donkey because he'd paid £4.10 for him, and it was an awful bad sign of a donkey to lie down on the road. Finished after that, no more use.
But you know, I have a great story about Judith's father, Bill the Weaver.
You do?
Bill the Weaver. But you know, Bill was a great man for greyhounds. But they were never much good. They'd say Bill would keep up to him himself. And anyway, he used to go out hunting, you know, a Sunday evening with all the neighbours and stuff like that, you know. So with Bill, anyway, there was a fellow from Dublin, his name was Carl. He was a tailor. And he used to be there, you know. But after a wet night, you know, the hares like to sleep. They're travelling all night if the water get into the seat. And then they travel all night. But anyway, they came upon a hare inside in the seat, and they see him, you know. So anyway, Carl said, oh, there he is, you know. He says, Bill says, may God love me. That's what he used to say. I think he'll give him a small tipping, he said, with a stick. Because he said he'll kill the dogs. He said it's too early in the day. Oh, but he snare him too, you know. He could snare him. Dennis told me. Dennis says he used to see tackle greyhounds. He said, my father's the best greyhound. He said in Kerry. Talk about ball power or wave power or carloptic. He couldn't come near me. That was all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say thank you all for being with us this evening here in Ballyferriter, and we hope that you'll join us again for our next programme next week. And I'd like to especially thank Paddy Cronin, thank you Paddy,
Thank you, Jim.
and Julia Clifford for joining me this evening, and thank you all for coming along. And we're going to play a selection of reels for you. The first one is called the Mullingar Races, and the second one is called the Heather Breeze. So good night to you all.
Next, I am going to let you hear Joe Heaney, Joseph O'Haney, 1919 to 1984, the Connemara Giant, the definitive voice of unaccompanied sean-nós singing, hailing from Carna. Haney possessed a repertoire of hundreds of songs, and he believed a singer must live the story. He speaks about it just being a voice. Sean-nós is no instruments. Less is more, getting the story across. So I'm going to let him get the story across. He's good at that.
Well, now, thanks a lot, and I'll tell you a little bit about sean-nós singing. Now, this type of singing was never accompanied by any instrument until lately. The voice is supposed to accompany the song, and the time when musical instruments were burned and barred from being played by anybody, the people who kept the tradition alive were the Irish-speaking people who was sent back to the west coast and the rocky west coast from the north to south of Ireland. And in this kind of music, you don't have a beat. It's only got a pulse. And this is the way the song should be sung. Sean-nós, Sean means old and nós means style. And every line of this, nobody ever asks you to sing a song. They tell you to abit oran, say a song. In your scale, tell a story. Without putting over the story of the song, you're losing something. I mean, it's like running away from a bull while two bulls are after you. That's the way. But now, love, we have love songs. And I'll tell you what, love can take queer turns, you know. I don't know what it means, maybe you do. I don't think anybody does. But anyway, people try. My grandmother had a great sense of humor, and she always told me that love was blind, but marriage was an eye-opener. That's true. Now, here is a story of a woman who loved her husband dearly and another man twice as well. She went to the doctor to get something to make her old man blind. Nobody knows what she was going to do when he was blind, but there was rumors. And the doctor, being a friend of the old man, he sent him a little note telling him what the woman was up to. And whatever you do, he said, pretend you're blind. And this is what happened. There was an old woman in Wexford, and in Wexford town to dwell. She loved her old man dearly, but another man twice as well. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, dee. And one day she went to the doctors and medicine for to find. She said, I want something for to make me old man blind. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. Oh, feed them eggs and marrow bones and make them suck them all. I won't be so very long after till he can't see you at all. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. But the doctor wrote a letter and he sealed it with his hand. He sent it to the old man just to let him understand. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. She fed them eggs and marrow bones and made them suck them all. It wasn't so very long after till he couldn't see the wall. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. Now I was going to commit suicide, but she wouldn't let him. He said, I'll go and drown myself, but that would be a sin. She said, I'll come to the water's edge and help to push you in. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. And they jogged and jogged and jogged along, they came to the water's brim. She said, you come here to drown yourself and me to push you in. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. And the old woman stepped back a bit for to push him in. The old man quickly stepped aside and she went tumbling in. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. Oh, how loudly did she yell and how loudly did she bawl. And I howled your push, dear woman, he said, sure I can't see you at all. So me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. She swam and swam and swam around, she came to the farther brim. He grabbed the Sally Wattle and he pushed her further in. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. Now eggs and marrow bones may make your old man blind. But if you want to drown him, you must creep up close behind. To me rifle, the little arrow, and me rifle, die for thee. And the ending of my story was, the blind man he could see. Fair play.
Now I am going to show you another solo instrument. This is unreal. This is Mary Bergen. She is like the Jimi Hendrix of Tin Whistle. And yeah, I'm only saying Jimi Hendrix. There's probably a woman out there somewhere, probably from Ireland too, that was lost in the mix. But oh, amazing. So here you go, Mary Bergen from Shankill. Now, alive today, we have Martin Hayes and Kate Ellis, and I'm going to, it's still stripped back, so there's just two of them, and you're going to hear O'Carroll's Farewell to Music, and composed by the blind harper Turlough O'Carolan on his deathbed in 1738. So, yep, it's said that he was in his patron's house, because he used to have patrons back then too. So, or Patreon have now, but it's not as easy. And yeah, it's a beautiful song, and I just feel people are smart enough to have been able to relate to this on the Late Late Show, TRAD special. I just don't think the Irish people should be doubted. And it just has such a large platform, and this is really beautiful. This is what happens when you let people progress in their field. Art used to be uniqueness, storytelling.
So we experiment a little bit with the fiddle and the cello here and what are the possibilities, and then we go back into like the sound of two fiddles, as it were, kind of a big fiddle and a little fiddle, but it just sounds like two fiddles from East Clare in so many ways. We're going to continue with a slow air this time, which Kate and I have played a number of times, but it's a tune I don't ever really tire of. It's O'Carolan's Farewell to Music, and it's a very beautiful tune, and of course, I suppose, very melancholic tune. Anyway, hope it's not too melancholic for you. We'll here we go with it.
And now I am going to play Ula O'Lenard and Steve Cooney at the National Art Gallery. And this is special. And I really wanted to play it because they're thanking Michael D. Higgins. And luckily now we have Catherine D. Connolly, 2 presidents that respect art. And I know that's not the same in America right now. And with the Kennedy Center, yes, just the Kennedy Center. And it's, it's really heartwarming to hear this introduction and beautiful to hear these 2 together. So enjoy.
We performed this before, Steve.
We did?
In august circumstances.
Very august.
We were asked by our president, Michael D. Higgins, to perform it at the luncheon at his first inaugural day as Uachtaráin na hÉireann in Áras an Uachtaráin. It was a wonderful honour for us, and we are so proud of our president. Artists in particular feel, and I know I speak for you, we feel the depth and the sincerity of his understanding of what we try to do. But I think all Irish people feel it, and we're so proud of him, and we're going to dedicate this song that we sang for him those years ago. Well, this is for you, O Uachtaráin. Sinishim vaintrul quarter tree Michaela trawa na down go train the vornuk nuk sunnim again Shemlech Michaela mar Shemel Hezur Kilimar Suana Shem Ni vuero se All love again Moyilimar Bim Shebwal Bord Kachlo Ikrig across its warna no O squeal gweng an bochel bio Snarriel ter twalhishk weg no vro Shemelech Moyilimar Shemel Hezer Gilimar Suana Shem Ni vuero sen All love again Moyilimar Ni lauran kwas werker no Is nil go guide wheel of glow Na magen harik ing loads of kirk O squeal away on bochel bio Shemelech Moyilimar Shemel Hezer Gilimar Suana Shem Ni vuero sen All love again Moyilimar Marco was away Gas kan when so is no Glock is lenig lopen no Ik tas kan tlo six welcome to Rome. Shameless, Moyillamar, a shame of his Gillamar. So a shame, ni vuelos hey, all love again, Moyillamar. Shine ter stad er chlarshikjoel, is liam ter tajiv kort er bod, lehichin nord gan chaim gan hjo, chun sel is slaim to dalt an a low. So shall we go send you glad we look we do. So no shame ni vuelos all love again what you learn. Shameless Moyillamar, a shame of his Gillamar. So no shame, ni vuelos all love again, Moyillamar. Gramagov.
Okay, so I'm going to play out to the end with two people that were on the TRAD session Late Show, and the general consensus from the Reddits and the comments is that they're unbelievable, as I know, and that they would have loved to heard solos from Tara Breen and Jory O'Connor, two of the finest musicians in Ireland. So I'm going to leave you with that, Tara Breen and then Jory O'Connor. Thank you very much everyone for listening. I hope you'll enjoy this little journey through music, and I appreciate you all listening. I hope you've gained some more respect for TRAD. This is my love letter to TRAD.
Hiya, I'm Tara Breen. I'm here in the McNeilla's studios, and I'd love to play a few tunes for you. The first one is Tom McElvogue's, and the second one is Petty Reinstrom.
Thank